good afternoon. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon. And here is another couple of stories from the World Health Organization, the gold standard, you know, for information about the CV outbreak and so on and so forth. And the first headline is now telling us that inoculations will not be enough and we're going to have to learn to live with CV forever. Well, what do you know? Fancy that. Knock me over with a feather. And get a load of this from CNBC, who warns CV inoculation alone won't end the outbreak. We cannot go back to the way things were. Oh, well, thank you very much. After we've done all of this, you're telling us that natural immunity is maybe the way to go? Is that what we're saying here? The World Health Organization said Friday that an inoculation will be a vital tool in the global fight against the CV, but it won't end the CV outbreak on its own, and there's no guarantee scientists will find one. World leaders and the public must learn to manage the bug and make permanent adjustments to their daily lives to bring the bug down to low levels. The World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said during a news conference from the agency's Geneva headquarters. At the same time, we cannot go back to the way things were. Throughout history, outbreaks and pandemics have changed economies and societies, he said. So here they go, they're pushing the inoculation like crazy, and yet they're saying that the inoculation won't be the solution. We just have to learn to live with this thing, just like we have with every other flu bug that's been gone around for the last century or so. I mean, give me a break. You talk about contradictory information, and this is a very telling little comment right at the end. In particular, the CV outbreak has given new impetus to the need to accelerate efforts to respond to climate change, he said. The CV outbreak has given us a glimpse of our world as it could be. Cleaner skies and rivers. And this is what's coming next, folks. You will have on your passport, the green won't be just for go. It will be how you live your life, how much carbon you burn, and you'll be restricted based on your activity and your purchases. There you go. Social credit 101. Here we come. This is absolutely unbelievable. I think we've all known this all along. And look at the disaster, the havoc that has been wreaked because of the panic to get this out. And yes, as we can see, I mean, this is the interesting thing. You know, I mentioned in a previous video about the Israelis losing their green status on their passports. And actually, I forgot to mention that video, but I'm going to mention here that this is the most inoculated country in the world. We're approaching, you know, 90% inoculation, and yet they are having 20,000 new cases a day. So there you go. That's how effective all of this stuff really is. And and the WHO have finally come out and said that this is the case. But it's misleading, you see, because, you know, here we see how government's rushing in another direction. The major platforms, social media platforms, telling us that the WHO and the CDC are the gold standard and they are the only ones that are allowed to be quoted on social media. And here they are telling everyone that just the opposite of what governments are rushing to do. And again, this next headline, we'll just pop over to that and see what that has to say. The World Health Organization has warned leaders against relying on CV lockdowns to tackle outbreaks, after previously saying countries should be careful how quickly they reopen. The WHO envoy, Dr. David Nabarro, said such restrictive measures should only be treated as a last resort. The British magazine The Spectator reported in a video interview. We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as the primary means of control of this virus, Nabarro said. Lockdowns just have one consequence, that you must never,
ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer, he said. And that's exactly what has happened. And what he didn't mention is that it's made rich people an awful lot richer too. So this has been an incredible transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. Once again, thank you very much to the World Health Organization for confusing the issue and not speaking clearly and giving contradictory information and then suddenly backtracking when you can see that every government in the world is using lockdowns as their first resort, not their last resort.
So there you have it, right in your face. The WHO is saying to the governments of the world not to fall back on lockdowns as your primary means of combating the outbreak. And what are we seeing around the world? Governments doing exactly the opposite. And of course we're now rumoured in Canada that there will be another harsher lockdown, very similar to the Australian lockdown through the winter months, starting somewhere in November. And so how on earth are we to make a sound decision for our path forward as individuals? And you know, I bumped into a friend of mine recently, and he runs the fish and chip shop in Bobcaygeon. I've been cutting his hair since he was a teenager, and we are very, very good friends, and we were just staggered. We were saying to each other that we can't believe that after 18 months you still cannot plan further than 2 weeks ahead. He doesn't know whether to shut down, keep going, try and hire more staff, let go of his staff, whether to order more food, whether to, you know, plan for more takeout. You know, it's impossible for him to move forward as a business. And he's saying even with people inoculated, they're still not coming out because, of course, you can still get CV. I mean, I got to say it. Yes, I'm going to say it. And I say this to people to their faces. So why did you get the jab then? If you still got to wear a mask, you still got to social distance, and you can still get sick, I don't know. Anyway, this last story is from Scotland, and doctors they're mystified. They're baffled, I tell you. They're absolutely baffled at the sudden increase in heart attacks and blood clots in the heart. Well, fancy that. You can't put 2 and 2 together. Isn't this one of the side effects? Myocarditis and blood clots. And all of a sudden, what have we been doing? What have we been doing all summer long? Oh, the thing we can't talk about. Well, dear me. And it's just stunning, the level of lack of self-reflection here. I mean, I'm surprised that they could even do this story without bursting out laughing. Well, I guess it's because it is a tragedy, and it is a tragedy. But, I mean, wow. Anyway, here it is. Take it for what it is.
And this from the Times. Mystery rise in heart attacks from blocked arteries. Ha! Fancy that. Now, this is from September the 30th, 2021. So-called NSTEMI attacks are up 25% in the west of Scotland. Health experts have been left baffled, I tell you, by a big rise in a common and potentially fatal type of heart attack in the west of Scotland. During the summer, there was a 25% rise in the number of people rushed to the Golden Jubilee National Hospital in Clydebank, with partially blocked arteries cutting blood supply to the heart. Typically, the centre, which is the largest of its kind in the UK and treats people from 5 health board areas, receives 240 patients a month suffering with this form of heart attack. But this rose to more than 300 over May, June and July of this year. Now, what has everyone been doing all over the Western world since about May of this year? They would have been sticking a needle in their arm, would they? You know, a needle that just happens to have one of the side effects of blood clots, blocked arteries, blocked veins, myocarditis. But they're baffled. They're baffled at the mystery heart attacks. Give your head a big shake and then slap yourself up alongside the face just to wake yourself up. Because if you can't put 2 and 2 together, there's something wrong with your mathematics.
So I hope you enjoyed all of that, and if you did, please like, comment and subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.